How about that for an introduction? Welcome to this week's AddOhms Live. It is, what is today? May 27th. In this live stream, I'm going to do something I've thought about making an entire episode about, but I decided I'm going to do it this way instead. I'm going to show how I make an AddOhms animation. And so if you've been subscribed and following the channel, I've done a series on how to create your own Arduino board. So the first one, we drew the schematic. The second one, I designed the PCB. Well, not only did I get the PCBs back, but I've already populated one of them. And I started doing some poking around. Turns out there is a mistake on the board, which is good because it gives us something to talk about in the episode. But it also turns out that this first one I populated has a problem with auto reset. And so I'm explaining in the episode how Arduino's auto reset works. And so in this live stream, I'm going to make the animation that goes along with that explanation. In fact, I'm going to start in Premiere. I just recorded the voiceover, so you'll see me piece that together. And then I'll go into After Effects where I actually create the animations. So I will say this is a working live stream. So that means there's going to be a lot of dead time while I'm thinking about things or doing some tasks. So sorry, that's part of the deal with the live stream. And while I'm in the live stream, there's 3 places that you can actually chat with me. So there's the YouTube chat, which is where most of you are. I also stream on Twitch. There I stream under Bald Engineer instead of AddOhms. So you could try chatting with me there. And then we also have a Discord server. And so if you look in the description for this video, there's a link to the Discord and you can chat with me there. Now, for this stream, I'm not going to have the chat on the screen. It's too distracting for the programs that I'm using, but I do have the chat right next to me, and I have them all combined into a single stream. So if I talk to somebody that you don't see in like the YouTube chat, it might be because they're on one of the other channels. Okay, enough of the introduction. If you don't know me already, my name is James. I'm the Bald Engineer. This is an AddOhms live stream. And in this one, we're going to show how to make an AddOhms style animation. So catching up with the chat, thanks for the comment on the intro. I don't have audio on it yet, but I thought it'd be a fun way to kick off this, this live stream. And then this is actually, this isn't a Mac. It's actually a Apple II GS. I do have the original Macintosh and a Mac SE30, but I like this one. I just like the Apple II GS. When I was a kid, I wanted one, couldn't have one, got it. The only thing I don't like is that the sender, I bought it on eBay, the sender like didn't pack it very well and the monitor cracked. It works fine, but it's cracked. In fact, I meant to have that running in the background. Yeah, maybe another time. And then as far as the modem goes, this is actually, I'm glad you noticed it, man. By the way, I screwed up on sending you the stickers. They came back to me. And so I just put them back in the mail yesterday or the day before. And I checked the tracking and they've left San Francisco. So they're actually in Mexico City right now. But anyway, the modem is going to be a future AddOhms or Bald Engineer video. I'm going to turn this into a Wi-Fi 32 so that I can do BBSs from my classic computers. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put it inside of a traditional modem case. There's a surplus store in town that was selling those for like $5 each. So one more time, this is the autofocus isn't turned on. This is the Pyramid Arduino, and this is the thing that I'm going to be making the animation for. I should have taken a better picture of that. Maybe I'll look for one later. The floppy drive, oh god, the memories. Yeah, actually, Gustavo, I use this floppy emulator, and I love it because it does everything over Flash, but I don't have a way to run the floppy drives and the emulator. Now, I don't really care to use floppies, but I love the sound that the Apple 5 1/4 makes when the servo hits up against the rail. And so I don't have a way to have that turn on when I turn on the computer, which is really disappointing. Is this live going to be recorded on the channel? Most likely. I'll probably post it. Let's see how long it drags on. All right, so let's go to my computer. Maybe. There we go. Okay, so real quick, if you don't know how Arduino's auto reset works, the idea is when you open up the serial port, it actually causes the processor, the 328, to reset. When it resets, then the bootloader runs. The bootloader listens for some characters to determine if you're about to program it. And then once the programming's done, the bootloader hands over control to your program. So the way that this works is using the serial signal DTR or RTS. It doesn't, I mean, they're both holdovers from RS-232, but it doesn't really matter. And so what we see happening is, let's see, so DTR is the orange trace. When it goes low, there is DTR capacitor reset. And so DTR goes low. The capacitor goes low with it because it's basically held at 5 volts with no charge. So suddenly there's a 5 volt drop. So then we see a characteristic charge curve, which is the reset signal. And once it hits 4.5 volts, then the processor is brought out of reset. And so if we look at this particular scope shot on an Arduino Uno, this lasts for about 2 milliseconds. Now, before you say, well, wait a minute, James, it's not 4.5 volts. The logic high is like 3 point blah, blah. Nope. Reset is a special case. Reset has its own logic thresholds independent of the GPIO. And it's partially because, and low is like 0.5 volts over here somewhere. Partially it's just because you want a wider range on the reset signal to make sure that noise doesn't allow it to accidentally reset. Okay, so that's what I captured on the scope, and I'll show this in the final episode. But what I want to do is draw the AddOhms style animation of the explanation I just gave you. So this part's going to be a little bit on the boring side because you probably can't hear my voiceover all that well. But let's do reset voiceover. So what I've got here is this is a video clip. I took this one right before I started the stream, and I create a sequence out of that. So let's do a new bin. We're going to do voiceovers. Move this down here. And then that is this guy over here. Okay, so all I'm doing at this point is I've recorded my blank voiceover. And to give you an idea, I'm working off of this script. And so I already recorded all of this text. Basically, now I'm just going to piece together the video based on that. Okay, so let's get this expanded out. All right. And on this video clip, I don't care if it's in focus or color or anything like that because I'm going to wipe out my face. I just like to use the same microphone that I record the live action with on the voiceover so that the audio sounds the same. Before we check out the reset signal, we should review how this simple looking circuit auto reset. I already messed up. All right, Before we check out the reset signal, we should review how this simple looking auto reset circuit works. All right, so that's the first piece. And then the next. From the USB to serial adapter, there are 3 signals: transmit, receive, and DTR. Or you can also use RTS. This signal is active low, which means when it is active, it will go to 0 volts. All right, that's my second paragraph. And so what you'll actually see is when I record this, I purposely put in big pauses and then edit them back out and then stitch it all back together. Over on the 328 side, there's a reset signal. Okay, screw up. Yeah, and I realize you might not be able to hear the audio from my computer very well. Sorry about that. I don't have the driver installed to capture it. Over on the 328 side, there is a reset signal, which holds the processor in a stopped or reset state. It has a pull-up resistor to 5 volts. The reset signal is also active low, which means when 0 volts or logic low is applied, the processor resets itself. It stays in that reset state until this signal goes high. Thanks, Connor. I was hoping it would pick up I actually have the volume the volume a lot higher than I normally do, which means, all right, that was a bigger pause than I liked.
Active low, which means when...
Okay, that's better. Okay, that's clearly a screw up. Oh.
These two signals are connected by a 100 nanofarad capacitor. When the serial port is closed, that means the capacitor sees 5 volts on the DTR side and 5 volts on the reset side. So when the computer opens the serial port, the USB to serial chip asserts the DTR signal, which causes one side of the capacitor to go low. This action...
That's a big pause. I might put that back in, but let me take it out for now.
This action drops 5 volts across the capacitor, causing it to charge up.
Is this action? And then where was this action?
This action...
All right. Kill that. Come back to here.
This action drops 5 volts across the capacitor, causing it to start charging up. After a few milliseconds, the capacitor is charged and reset is brought back to 5 volts.
All right. Take out the mouth noises.
This short time is what we call auto reset. It is just long enough to reset the 328, which then runs the booter.
So I just saw Dev TTY's comment. This whole stream's going to be about a USB to serial adapter.
This short time is what we call auto reset. It is just long enough to reset the 328, which then runs the bootloader. Okay, let's go back to James and the scope.
All right.
Okay, let's go back to Scope James.
Now, I'm making a joke there. I call myself Scope James, and then in the episode, right now the plan is it'll cut back to my workbench, and I'll say, well, thanks, Drawing James. Lame joke, but, you know, that's kind of a staple on AddOhms. All right, so I think I'm going to be happy with this, so now what I'm going to do is bring all the clips together. And then listen to it one more time, and if it's done, then we go over to After Effects.
Before we check out...
Okay. So, if you want to play a fun drinking game, count how many times in an AddOhms episode you can hear me breathe in. You know, the sound like... I do my best to edit them out. Speaking of editing out.
Before we check out the reset signal, we should review how this simple-looking auto reset circuit works. From the USB to serial adapter, there are 3 signals: transmit, receive, and DTR, or you can also use RTS. This signal is active low, which means when it is active, it will go to 0 volts. Over on the 328 side, there is a reset signal, which holds the processor in a stopped or reset state. It has a pull-up resistor to 5 volts. The reset signal is also active low, which means when 0 volts or logic low is applied, the processor resets itself. It stays in that reset state until these two signals are connected by...
Yep, missed it.
That state until these...
Where did I... It stays in the reset state, these two, so I lost this whole sentence. Oh, I know what I did, but easy fix. Let's pull this back out.
That reset state until this signal goes high.
All right. Okay.
Until this signal goes high. These two signals are connected by a 100 nanofarad capacitor. When the serial port is closed, that means the capacitor sees 5 volts on the DTR side and 5 volts on the reset side. So when the computer opens the serial port, the USB to serial chip asserts the DTR signal, which causes one side of the capacitor to go low. This action drops 5 volts across the capacitor. causing it to start charging up. After a few milliseconds, the capacitor is charged and reset is brought back to 5 volts. This short time is what we call auto reset. It is just long enough to reset the 328, which then runs the bootloader. Okay, let's go back to Scope James.
All right, that's looking pretty darn good, actually. Just want to check a couple things really fast. That looks good. That's still active. Okay. Alrighty. Now we go do some fun stuff. Okay. So this is, in a lot of ways, that's the fun part. Now, I made the comment about the breathe in noise. You'll notice it still is in this track. At this stage of my editing, I'm just looking to assemble together the narration so that I can do the animations. The very last thing I do is I go through and then play with the audio. And what I found was I used to spend a lot of time up front on the audio, and then like huge chunks of it would get either re-recorded or cut out. So now I clean up all the audio very last. Now the other thing that we have to do before I go into After Effects is I actually record all my video in 4K, and then I bring it down to 1080. And the reason I do that, and it doesn't really matter on this clip, but the reason I do that is so that I don't have to have jump cuts. So like here, you know, like in a lot of YouTube videos, is there a mute button? Oh, I'll just do this. In a lot of YouTube videos, people will just let kind of like that jump happen, and I don't like that. And if you'll notice in mine, I almost always do it this way. Just send this up, where it's actually a zoom cut. And so if you go back, and especially since, I don't know, about episode 17 or so, I've been shooting higher resolution so that I can do those jump cuts. Again, it sort of doesn't matter for this clip. I just thought I'd throw that out there. But the problem is that this is in 4K. So if I bring it into After Effects, it's going to try to treat it as 4K, which I don't want it to do that. So what we need to do is, let's see, where did I create this? Voiceovers. I need a new sequence. And I'm going to, where'd my window go? Sequence and 1080 4K, and this is going to be reset voiceover AE 1080p. Now normally I have my entire episode already shot, and then I just do these replacements within that sequence, but I haven't gotten that far. So I'm just going to create this, and then I'm going to say, I'm going to bring this over here. And then so again, I don't care that this is all zoomed in and everything, because what I'm going to do now is take this whole thing and say replace with After Effects. Thanks for the comment, Connor. Yeah, I think one of the things I try to do with my videos is I'm trying not to do, well, I just try to present things in a different way. It's just how I operate. Let's see, comps. Pyramid, Arduino, turn on, a comps. Okay, save this. So if you're not familiar, so I think a lot of people, well, a lot of people are probably familiar with Adobe Premiere or even Final Cut iMovie. Those are video editing programs. So those allow you to actually edit together pieces of video, you know, just like we were just doing. Most of the stuff I do in AddOhms is actually in Adobe After Effects, which isn't an editor, it's a compositing program. And it's one of the most flexible video creation tools that are out there. Well, I mean, there's other competitors to it, so I won't say it's better or worse than those, but the class of kind of tool that this is really flexible. It's how people like that, the AddOhms, the Marvel style introduction that I did, that was done in After Effects. When I did the Laser Wars lightsaber episode, I did all of the special effects and all of the editing, or not editing, adjustments in After Effects. And then all of my AddOhms animations since episode 13 or so, whenever I did the virtual bench, that was the first one I used After Effects on. All right, so I need to import my template. Let me go get that real quick. Let's go. Wrong directory completely. AddOhms, shared assets, template version 4. This just has a bunch of stuff that I've already created. All right, and now I need a new folder. This is going to be comps, and this is going to be pre-comps. This one's going to be media, and then I do 99 is Premiere Pro imports. All right, throw that here. We're going to rename this one Auto Reset. All right, and so that's actually linked back to Premiere Pro. Yeah, you know, if you follow me on Twitter, you might learn my real feeling about open source software. But one thing that is lacking in the open source software community is a decent compositing program. You can do some of this stuff with Blender, but it is not, I mean, it's a chore. And I don't really feel like that's what Blender was meant for. Backgrounds, you'll see why I'm doing that. So first thing we're going to do is kill the video because we're not going to use it in this composition. And then I'm going to go and create, let's see, 01 background. Oh, and we're going to open this up and then go to here. Let's see, this is, so this is Series 6, Episode 3, pre-made modules. This is Auto Reset. Actually, I want to do Uno Auto Reset. And then this is, ooh, what am I calling this one? I guess we'll just talk Pyramid DIY. I know what I want to. DIY Arduino turn on / debug. Okay, that's probably what we'll call it. Come back to auto reset. Okay. All right. Fit, save. Okay, and now our background. Now, if you watch AddOhms episodes before, this screen should start to look a little bit familiar. Now, I'm also going to, for the sake of reference, I don't really need this because I know what I'm trying to draw, but for the sake of reference, I'm going to bring in a couple of things. Media. I'm going to rename this to Scope DTR Reset Screenshot. And I also wanted to bring in, I might actually use this in a minute. So let's, not the PCB. Let's get the schematic. Remap, okay, close. Because what I'm thinking about is it might be nice just to have this. So I'm going to do this. Now I got to go grab that file. I don't know where to put it. Probably in screenshots. Is this 527? All right. That's going to go up back up here. let's call this auto reset from KiCad. And I'll just throw that into stills, bring that into my comp. All right, so I'm going to throw this on here. Let's just scroll this. Like I said, I know I don't necessarily need this, but I think it's helpful so you can see what I'm trying to draw. And then this is totally anal, but I don't like the white, so I'll fix that. And then this one, let's just bring this down because I'm going to reference that waveform in a little bit. So that's just so I can see it. Okay, so I think the first thing we're going to start is let's draw that out. All right. Oh, you know what I could do real quick? Yeah, actually I want to do this. I skipped a step. I need to add markers so I know where certain things are happening. So, okay, it's previewed.
We should review how this simple looking auto reset circuit works.
All right. I mean, this is pretty obvious, but review. All right, so what I'm doing now is I'm going to go through and just put little labels so that I don't have to keep looking at the waveforms. This just helps me out later on.
From the USB to serial adapter.
All right, so here is from adapter.
The USB to serial adapter, there are 3 signals.
All right.
Transmit.
Now we'll do transmit.
Transmit, receive.
It's going to be receive. And then this is DTR.
And DTR. Or you can also use RTF.
All right. Or RTS.
This signal is active low.
All right. Now I'm going to go active low.
This signal is active low.
And actually that happens about here.
Which means when it is active.
All right. When active.
When it is active, it will go to.
And 0 volts. Okay. So what I'm actually doing right now is I'm looking for in my voiceover. In my mind, I've already got graphics that I'm going to draw. Now, normally I have a script written where I actually have identified all of these points already, and then that's what I'm marking them for. But this sequence is simple enough that I didn't really want to write out a script to do it. Also, I didn't have time before the live stream.
Over on the 328 side.
Which is another reason I don't actually normally label these as much as I am now.
Over on the 328 side, there is a reset signal which holds the process.
But because I don't have a script to follow, I'd have to keep re-listening to it. And so anyway.
There is a reset signal which holds the processor in a stopped or reset.
Okay, there's a reason for that.
It has a pull-up resistor.
All right, pull-up resistor. Probably draw one of those, pull-up resistor.
It has a pull-up resistor to 5 volts. The reset signal is also active low.
Reset, also active low. All right. Get the waveforms for this one.
Which means when 0 volts or
volts.
0 volts or logic low is applied.
0 volts or logic low.
Low is applied. The processor reset.
All right. And then what I'm looking for here.
Reset.
All right. So this is re, and this is sets.
Sets itself. It stays in that.
That's going to be re.
Reset. Resets.
I haven't even gotten to the tedious part yet.
Until this signal goes high.
And then I'll probably animate a waveform going high here. High. All right. Now we go to here.
These two signals are connected by
these two. I'll probably be drawing a capacitor, so I need to know when that.
two signals are connected by 100 nanofarad. 100.
All right, we'll bring in some text that says 100 nanofarad. 100 nanofarad.
100 nanofarad.
And then capacitor, I'm actually going to do this because I want to be done drawing the capacitor at this point. All right.
When the serial port is closed, when the serial port is
Closed.
closed, that means the capacitor sees 5 volts.
5 volts. DTR.
5 volts on the DTR side, and
And this is 5 volts on reset. You know, what's funny is normally when I do this, it's been like 2 or 3 days since I record it. And so I normally have to have the script right next to me just to remember what everything is.
5 volts on the reset side.
Which makes me think I should do the editing the same day. It'd be a lot easier.
So when the computer opens the serial,
All right, opens.
opens the serial port, the USB to serial chip asserts the
USB serial. All right. I need to do one thing in Premiere.
the capacitor sees 5 volts. So when the computer opens the serial port,
I need to actually go back and let's go re-record. I kind of mess up on one of the words there, so I might re-record that later. All right. Come back to here. All right.
speed a serial chip asserts the DTR signal.
Asserts. I don't think that's how it's spelled, but we're the only ones that will ever see it.
Asserts the DTR signal.
Let's actually, no, that's not what I meant to do. Asserts DTR. Accidentally opened the background.
Which causes one side of the capacitor to go low.
One side low. Oh, did it again. One side goes low. All right.
Go low.
Can I do, where is my, that's not what I wanted. Let me hide this. Let's hide this for a moment and hide that. All right. Just give me some more room to work with. There.
This action drops 5 volts.
Drops 5 volts.
5 volts across the capacitor.
I'm going to do a glow, so we'll have it stop here.
Causing it to start charging up.
All right.
To start charging.
Here we're going to just start drawing that.
After a few milliseconds, the capacitor is charged and reset is brought. Capacitor is charged.
All right. Charging needs to be stopped here.
Charged and reset is brought back to 5.
And then this is 5 volts. All right.
This short time is what we call auto.
All right. So this will be, I'm going to draw like a bracket. Short time.
Is what we call auto.
And then the text for auto reset will go here.
It is just long enough to reset the 328, which then runs the bootloader. Okay, let's go back to Scope James.
All right, and then that's fine. All right. Whew, that is fun. I check a few things, and then we're going to get to the fun stuff. Okay. All right, we need a topic for the chat room. Let's see, we're doing serial. Got the modem. Okay. Got it. So this is a old X2 modem. How many people in the chat room have used a modem, and what was the slowest and what was the fastest modem that you used? Okay, so who's used a modem, the slowest and the fastest? After a couple of you say what you've done, I will answer the question myself. All right, in review, let's see now. I just had a crazy idea.
Before we check out the reset signal, we should review how this simple looking auto reset circuit works.
Okay, here's what we're going to do on this. Torn paper. I'm going to do, let's go, is that the only one I have? Let's go name, torn paper template. Yeah, okay. I'm going to do an animation where the I'm going to bring the schematic on the screen for a moment. So let's get that asset going. Why are you on that screen? That's weird. All right. Okay, I think I've got is this it? Yeah, that's gonna be it. All right, and then, oh, this is, I've got a, I've got to fix this. This actually needs to be this color. Come on. F1, F1, F1. Actually, I need to know what was the color code I used for the background here. Fine. Window, let's go info. It is, oh, come on, give me it in hex. F2. I'm 38. First was a Bausch & Lomb 2400 BPS. 2400 was the first for me. I did use it at 1200 a few times. I think either there was like an old BBS or like service or something. For some reason I used it at 1200. Maybe it was just because I was a kid and wanted to see what it was like. But my first one was also 2400. Why isn't that opening? Why isn't this opening up my other one? All right, well, fine. We're just going to do it this way. Select this one, and then that needs to be, this should be white. Yeah, this is what I don't understand. All right, this one is supposed to be, oh, this was way harder than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, hey, Dr. Teddy. Actually, my name is not Adam. Common misconception. There we go. Now, I know this probably is kind of like, what in the heck is he doing? But I have a plan. Let's see now. Embed. Come on. New layer. Put this here. Actually, goes on this one. And then hide this one. Okay. Ooh, yeah, that's going to look real good. Okay, so now we're going to export as PNG with all the DPI. I don't know what's going on there. Stills, torn paper. This is going to be KiCad torn. Use artboard. Export. 300 DPI. We'll try type. I don't care. Let's see. That'll look fine. 300 BPS. You had to do the acoustic coupler. Yeah. I actually picked up for my VIC-20 the VIC modem, which I think is a 300 BPS, and it was like one of the first modem. It was one of the first modems sold, as I recall, that didn't require the acoustic coupler. And so that's a pretty significant piece. How many people recognize an analog telephone, and how many would know what to do with an acoustic coupler? All right, scale. Bring this down a little bit. And then we're going to rotate this. All right, layer style. I'm going to end up changing this later. Now in my comps, I want my flat hand comp. All right, here's the big secret. None of the drawing you see me do in modern AddOhms episodes I actually draw anymore. The last one I did drawing in was like, I think it might have actually been number 12, unboxing a Raspberry Pi. Let's go auto reset. Nope. Whoa, what did I do? No. I don't know what I did. Auto reset. Wait, what am I? Oh man, I was not paying attention. I gotta close that. This goes up here. this and this are, this is a guide, and this is a guide layer. The issue with my keyboard. I'll go back to OBS. Now can I do, yeah. Yeah. Does anybody, okay, so let's, yeah, so my first modem was the 2400 baud modem. It was an internal modem. And then after that, I bought a 9600 baud modem. It was a Hayes, it was an actual Hayes. It was this boxy thing, which is what I've been looking for, but I can't find anywhere. And then after that, I went to 14.4, and then I ended up with a 56K. Actually, no, I didn't go 14.4. I went straight to 33.6, which had the software upgrade to X2 for 56K, which was FCC limited to 33K. Or 53K, I mean. And then by that point, I worked in an ISP, and so I didn't care about modems anymore. Yeah, I actually have, well, I've got one of almost most 8-bit computers. I've got 2 or 3 VIC-20s that I bought in as a lot of broken computers. And so I was thinking about doing a series on, repairing them. All right, so let's scale this down to about 60, rotate this to about here. Okay.
Before we check out the reset signal,
all right, and then let's go here.
We should review how this simple looking auto reset circuit works.
All right, I don't know if I'm going to leave this on here yet, but maybe. So now what we'll do is, I want to, let's go position, and then let's go 10, 12, 13, 1, 2, 3, and lock that in. Position will come like here. And then the hand, what we'll do is mark its position. It needs to be in 3D. And then we will mark its position, and then I'm going to put the finger right on top of the 1 so that it's easier for me to find it. Believe it or not, I do these almost frame by frame. I have some scripts that help with some things, but I found that the time it takes to set them up tends to be about the same as just doing it this way. Same thing with like tracking, and there's a lot of features in After Effects that would help, but sometimes it's just easier to do it manually. All right. Okay, and then at this point, let's go back to hand, bring this back up to here, position, and then let's go like this. We'll go over here, go to the Z, and then so you guys can see what this is actually going to do. Play a couple of tricks to make it look like it's actually 3-dimensional, which are, we add a blur, and we increase the drop shadow. Okay, so it starts at 0, and then up here, whoa, 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 what happened? Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. That's weird. Yeah, anyway. All right, Uber this out, and then the blurriness goes up to 20, and then this goes to 10, and then this goes to 10.
Before we check out...
All right, and then these all need to be easy and easy. All right, so all of that worked so that I could do a simple little gag.
Before we...
And then...
we should review how the...
Whoa, 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 what just happened? Oh, shit. Yeah, that should work, right? Yeah, okay.
Signal.
All right.
Signal. We should review how this simple looking auto...
That's a little bit slow, so we'll just speed this up a little bit.
View how this simple looking auto reset circuit works.
All right, and then I might pull that back off the screen at some point, but for the moment, that'll work. You know what? This is bugging me, and if I don't do this now, I'm never going to. But the shadow is wrong. So which one is it? Okay. Let's do file, export as PNG, use artboard. It was this folder, this one, export. Okay. No, that's not right. Yeah, that's what I thought. It should have had me replace it, but that's okay, because After Effects will pick it up, and then we will go into here and layer style, drop shadow. I need to write a script to do this because I use the same shadow on all of these. All right. All right, I don't feel like fixing that now. I had the finger right in the middle. Yeah, you know, so there's something funny to me about making these videos is that I've had to get used to three things that I never would have thought I'd have to get used to.
Review how this simple looking auto reset circuit works.
All right, so that worked. That's done. There's three things I've had to get used to. Number one was obviously the sound of my voice. So I've gotten pretty used to that at this point. But not just from AddOhms, just from a lot of the video stuff I've done outside of AddOhms. The other thing is looking at myself. And so ever since I started doing more on camera stuff, I realized how vain I must have looked in like airplanes and stuff when I was editing video of my bald head. And then the third is I never realized how much I was going to spend my life staring at my hands. It's a disturbing amount. And so, yeah, I just never expected that. So, all right, so we're gonna shy this one.
From the USB to serial adapter, there are three signals.
All right, so now what I wanna do is I'm gonna go ahead and just draw out the rest of the graphics. Because then it's going to be basically animating stuff. So what I'm going to do, I don't know what I just did. So let's get a shape layer. I'm going to draw a box, and that's going to be and then let's do text. This is going to be our 328p. And no. This is USB to serial. And eventually I'm going to have TX and RX and DTR. And I already know that DTR is then going to turn into RTS. All right, gotta fix this one. TX. And then let's do in a key point mover, move these all to the center. We're going to unbold them and make them 48. How big is that? That's going to look a lot better. And now I want these. Let's go align. Where'd my line go? I can close tracker, open align, and do something like this. Now TX is going to go about here. Why did that screw? Oh. Bring this back. And then RTS, we're going to throw, well, RTS is a special case. So let's do something like this. And then, all right, so we're going to align that. And then I want to distribute those equally. RTS is going to do a gag where it goes like this, and then for its position and its position, whoa, no. Where's my pick whip? What am I missing? Column parents, its position is going to be here. Why can't I do that? Oh, its position, and then that way I can just move those around. All right. Thanks, Dr. Teddy. Okay, so that'll be the USB to serial chip. Let's go ahead and draw a rectangle for, let's go into shape layer. Oh. Now we'll need a new shape layer, and we'll make this one the 328. And we'll just kind of make it a little bit bigger and longer. 328 chip, and on its, all we really care about there, oh no, I don't want that one, I want this one. The only thing we care about on this one is we're going to have something called, we're going to have a signal for reset. Oh, you're killing me, Smalls, you're killing me. Reset. Now, the next thing we're going to do, I just thought of this, is I need these to all, yeah, let's go ahead and take these, and we're going to parent them to chip. And then I need a new one of these up here. Move it over here. This is going to be 18 mega, 328p. And for the moment, I'm just going to do this. Okay. And that's going to be parented. So this and this are going to be parented to 328 chip. Now, in After Effects, parenting allows you to connect different layers together. What I'm trying to do there is, now that reset and the title are connected, when I move it, everything moves along with it, just making my life a lot easier. Same thing on this guy. If I move him over, and then I can move him down. Let's go to 625. Let's move him down to 625. And that's starting to look okay. I have to get to work, no problem. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Okay. Now, we're going to end up adding a capacitor. So let's go ahead and draw that. And so, oh, I know what I want to do. Reset needs to be the same, what was it? It's XY. So this should be 201.6 because I want it to be the same distance, okay? So that when I draw this line, all right, Oh, not that. I didn't want a mask. We're going to do capacitor. All right. I'm going to draw a line. Contents, do another line. And another line. And another line. All right. I actually have a pre-comp or a pre-created capacitor. Anode line. Anode. But it's simple enough that I just recreate it. Cathode and then cathode line. All right. Now what I want to do is I want to try and figure out. I had wanted that right in the middle. So this, I'm going to move over to, let's say, that's about 600, 1300, what is that? 13 minus 6 is what? 6, 7, and then roughly, let's just go about there. Bring this guy, anode, bring it over. Straighten him up. Bring this, whoa, that's not what I wanted. Bring this out to here. And then bring this one to here. Nope. Bring this one to here, which means I need to bring this one up just a little bit. All right, I think that'll work. And then we're going to put a resistor here to 5 volts. Okay, because of that, I am going to, now that I did all this, I'm going to move this back a little bit. Also, I can tell now it's not centered. What are you having a fit about? Ah. Let me edit this one point. Okay, fine. That is about as much time as I want to spend with something annoying me. All right, move this down here. Anode line. Bring this up here. Come on. All right. Bring this over here. Bring this over here. And then bring this. Come on. What is going on? Usually I don't have this much trouble with, yeah, I don't know why it wouldn't let me do that a second ago. All right, both of these need to come down a little bit. All right. Now, what you might notice is these shapes aren't in the same style of what I normally do for my videos. So what we're going to do now is fix that, which is a really, really complicated process. All right, save it. File, script, run script, AddOhms stroke change. Beautiful. That looks better. The other thing that's bugging me, let's go to solids. Let's make these blue. Let's make, oh, come on. That worked, okay. And then let's make reset blue as well. And then this, oops, that should have been moved up just a little bit. And then this and this, let's align that. And then the next thing is, they're just too darn big for me. Background should be locked. USB to serial chip. All right, okay. And then make those orange. Okay. Now we do, okay, so I know I'm going to add those. I also know I need a pull-up resistor. So let's go ahead and just get that drawn out. So let's do a new shape layer. And then resistor. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and add for here to here. And then we're going to take, boy, I want to make that smaller. All right, so let's come to here to about here. Let's bring this guy over here, this one up here, and then let's go roughly there. So that'll come here, that'll come here. And now what I want to do is, I do want to shorten this up just a little bit. Well, this is weird doing this without having music playing in the background. Okay, next chat room question. Asked about modems. Online services from the 80s and 90s. Who has used Genie, CompuServe, or Prodigy? AOL doesn't count. So, okay, or Delphi is another one. So what's an online service that you used other than AOL from the 80s or 90s? My first one was Prodigy. And it turned out that the phone number I was dialing did not require a, let's see, how did this work? So I guess way back when, there was the concept of local and long distance. And so you could call within a certain LATA without a long distance carrier. And so in my house, we didn't have a long distance carrier. We had, I think we had like a phone card or something that we could use to make long distance calls, but directly from our phone, you couldn't pick it up and dial long distance. And so I was like, all right, well, I guess if I can call this phone number, it must be a local call, even though it wasn't. And so I signed us up for like a free Prodigy trial. And we used Prodigy for like a full month before realizing that every single session was a long distance session. We ended up with something like a $1,500 phone bill that the phone company graciously reduced to $600. And I remember it was around Christmas time because my mom was like, guess what you just got for Christmas? It was a month of Prodigy. Yeah, she wasn't happy. She had other words in that process. But anyway, that was my first kind of online service. And then a few months later, I learned about BBSs. And the first question I got asked was, well, is this long distance? I'm like, no. You know, it's like, gosh, come on, guys. Make one mistake. All right, how does that look once it's converted? That looks good enough. All right, I'm liking that. We'll live with that. All right. Okay, let's see. What else do I have going on in here? So we've got the RTS. We'll have this. We'll have this. And then let's see. I want to explain active low. Shoot. Okay. KiCad torn plus this. I'm going to pre-compose this into 01 auto reset torn pre-comp, because, and then let's get that into here, because I need to move this whole thing like down here, and that's going to become obvious why later. Let's see now. Yeah, you had a local dial-up. Yeah, I didn't have local dial, or the city we lived in was halfway between South Bend and Chicago, and so we basically almost anything that had a phone number was either based in one of those two areas, and so they were both long distance. I guess Chicago, maybe because it crossed state lines, and then South Bend was actually where we dialed, which turned out to be long distance, which was really sucked. All right. So I know what I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and draw this in. What I'm realizing is this graphic is in my way. I don't like it. And here's why. Because I want it to draw, basically I want to redraw this. So let's do graph. I'll worry about that later. I think I have to reanimate that. Contents, shape 1. This should have actually been 2 shapes, but whatever. Let's go here, here, here. Need a guide so I can get this to come back to here. Oh. Guide to here. Come down to here. Bring this down here. And then this is going to be, let's add a text. Let's just bring this one here. This is going to be volts. Rotate. I think it's -90. Center that. And then that's going to go like here. And then we'll just duplicate that. This is going to go time. And we will rotate that to 0. Do one of these and do something like this. As a IRC notification. Phone bills were part of the fun. Yeah. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I mean, I can not remember, but I can imagine Europe having some issues there with phone bills, because isn't like even local calls, or at least back in the day, weren't even local calls charged by the minute or by some amount of usage. And cents per minute was the difference. Yeah, so in the US, at least back as far back as the late 70s, early 80s, local calls were effectively free. I don't ever remember paying like per minute on local calls, but out of the area, it was like, I don't know, a few cents per minute. And so that's how we ended up with a $1,200 phone bill. But if I called like a friend or something, we weren't charged anything. Okay, now we're going to do like this, and that's going to be the reset signal. And then, no, that's not reset, that's RTS DTR signal. And then let's go like this. Actually, let me lock this one so that I can do this. Now, how did I do this before? Because I think if I just try to go like this, that's close enough. All right, and then this is going to be reset. All right. Oh, nope. Undo that. Do this. Unlock this. And let's convert these because I want to change the colors. I actually have about 5 of these right now. But yeah, actually, yeah, my first modem was my first modem was a Packard Bell knockoff, whatever it was. I bought a 9600, which was a Hayes, and then from then on, my modems were always 14 or USR, and the 56K modem I had, I remember, was one of the last you could buy that wasn't DSP based, because right around the time that X2 came out, which this has, the internal modems turned into soft modems, which were absolutely horrible in the 90s. Just horrible. Computers were just not fast enough for that. Shape, path, fill, stroke. So this is RTS, and from the scope, RTS is orange. So we're going to change that to orange. Since it's a drawing, it gets bright orange. And reset is yellow. So, oh crap, I don't have a yellow defined. AddOhms color palette. Yellow is EFF41E. All right. Layer, new, solid. Yellow, okay. Solids, we're going to go into here. Solids folder. Delete this one. I don't actually want that. I just needed it for the color picker. I don't actually like that. We're going to, I'm going to make this one a little bit darker. That's better. No tornadoes. That must be an EU brand. I don't recognize Tornado either as a modem like company or like brand or anything like that. The other thing I want to do is let's change the opacity, since this one's on top, just so that the orange kind of comes out. Okay. All right, I'm going to save that. How's this guy looking? That says it's still going. That's a good sign. Come back to here. Let's see. All right, now that I've got that drawn, I can hide this layer. Don't really need that. And I think what I could do is this thing, let's bring this like over here. And then this. We're going to parent all of these to graph. 5 volt should actually be parented to pull-up resistor. Capacitor has no parent. That is parented to 328. That's 328. So I'm trying to remember like what was inside of modems. Is there anything in a modem that's worth like trying to salvage today? Like, you know, like I've got these. I'm going to replace the circuit board with basically with a ESP32, I think. But like, what is there anything like usable still in the electronics, or are they basically worthless now? USB, what am I looking for? I'm looking for the pre-comp of this. I've never done that before. You know what I could do? Not that one. -10. All right. What? Whatever. All right. Oh no, then when it comes in, it's going to do that. Oh well. Yeah, the USR 33K was, I don't know if all of them, but I remember the one I bought could be flashed. And I remember thinking, wow, that's a crazy idea, as you buy hardware and then you software upgrade it. That'll never catch on. Actually, I didn't think that. I was just making a joke. But it was really cool at the time, right? Because, and I can't remember, I don't think it was a free upgrade. I think you had to like spend $50 and then they sent you something, or I'm not positive that it was free, but it was amazing that you could do this like software upgrade. It's like, holy cow, we're living in the future now. Plus, let's just step back and think about that, right? A 33.6K modem suddenly able to go 56K was just like, man, that 200K GIF I'm going to download will go from 10 seconds to, well, it ended up going from like 10 to 7 seconds because Z modem was a ridiculously good transfer protocol. I want to make this really small, like 36. All right. Okay, so that's looking good. So I think I've got all the major elements I wanted. Pull-up resistor. I need to do something about, that's why I wanted to take this back out, because I want to show Okay, so what we need to do, these two need to also be orange. Reset needs to be my yellow. I need a copy of the DTS signal, because this is going to be reset active low. I know what I'm going to do here. And its stroke will be yellow. All right. Okay. Now, I know, oh, it's going to be a pain to add all that. All right. So we'll go active low, 0 volts. Let's come up here. What we're going to do here is I'm going to have, this is going to be 5 volt. This is going to be 5 volt cap closed. This is going to be 5 volt reset, cap, reset. And then this, we're going to do this, and it's going to be 0 volt cap open, 0 volt, and then all three of these. Let's do one of these. Now DTRs are going to be orange, and reset is going to be yellow. All right. Okay. So let's see, we're going to be high. And then I think because we're going to be somewhere here, we talk about opening and closing. Let's go ahead and add a TX. Where's my TX? Duplicate this one, bring it up here. Nope. Bring it down here. Closed 36. Do this. It's going to go about here. Duplicate that. It's going to change it to open. Do this. These two are going to get centered. And then I'm going to turn this one. Turn this one back on. Actually, this one's going to parent to closed. And move this one over. That looks nice. Fix that. Okay. And then just turn them both on for the moment. Yeah, if you actually listen carefully, in the AddOhms, like my AddOhms theme, when I'm showing the logo at the beginning of an episode, I have a modem carrier signal. And so in the newer ones, like the last couple years, it's only a few seconds. It's basically the squelch or the screeching. What is it? The carrier detect. If you go back to say episode 7, that had the full, like the entire time the song is playing, it does the whole modem thing. And then I think at the end, it has the 56K bong. I don't remember if every episode that used the full connect noise has that, but that was always the intent. Or that was an intent, and then I think it ended up getting cut off for some reason. But yeah, anyway, the AddOhms theme song, not the background music, but the theme song has a modem built into it. All right, and then this short time, we're going to do a ellipse tool here. Let's create another shape layer. I'm just going to do one of these. Ugh, don't like that at all. All right. Okay, this is going to be the auto reset highlight and some text that says auto reset. Acoustic couplers, man, I just love the name of those. I sort of want one just to have it on my desk. It'll go nice next to my Apple IIgs. Which I still kind of laugh that I have. Okay. All right, so this short time, okay, so now I think I have most of the elements I want. Now I'm going to actually start animating and adding in the hand animation. Why did I lose my thing? Okay. I need to take a quick break. I will be right back, and yeah, I'll just be back in just a second. All right. Show up and get greeted by please stand by. Well, I mean, stream's been going for like an hour, so sorry I had to take a break. Okay, so if you're midstream joining, this is an AddOhms live stream, and in this live stream, I'm showing how I do an animation for an upcoming episode. Uh-oh, I lost the board. So I've been doing this series on how to make your own or a DIY Arduino, which is what I've been calling the Pyramid Arduino, just to give it an interesting shape. So part 3, which I'm in the middle of recording, is populating this board and turning it on, as well as troubleshooting some of the issues. And so in that process, I realized I needed to be able to explain, or I wanted to be able to explain, how does auto reset work on an Uno-like Arduino Uno. Wanted to explain how auto reset works on an Uno style Arduino. So this animation is just showing how that circuit is going to work. So far what I've done is I've drawn most of the graphic assets that I want to use. I've done the voiceover, edited that all together, and have marked it up. So now I'm going to actually start doing the animation pieces of the graphic. So okay, so I'm actually going to go a little bit backwards just so that I can get some of the stuff off the screen. So actually, let's go ahead and, there's a trick I like to do. I have a shortcut out. Okay, hold on, I need to look something up because I always forget which button it is. I'm using, let's see if I can, I'm using a gaming mouse, which I find interesting because I don't game with my computer. And so what I do use it for is, like, all of these different kind of CAD and design programs, I've mapped all of the buttons to hotkeys. And so I mentioned this in a previous stream. Like, for example, was it, I have to think about it, 4, 5, 1, and 2. 1 and 2, I've mapped to be zoom in and out on most applications. And that way, I don't care what the hotkeys that a program has. I just learn whatever I need. But right now, I'm looking for, I created one just recently, so it's 6, to help out with one thing in, there we go. That was a long way to go. But yeah, I mean, basically, I really like the buttons. Actually, you know what? I might have to order lunch because I'm starting to get hungry. And okay, one side goes low, charged. Well, let's get this one done. So auto reset comes in. I need it to come in there. So let's back up 10, extend it. Animation composer. You need a little bit more. Okay, so let's go ahead and have him blur and fade. All right, so that's done. And then the short time, we're going to, let's see, auto reset highlight. This, actually, this one should be parented to auto set highlight. All right, now what I want to do is I'm going to have my hand draw this circle on. So we're going to add a trim path. And I'm going to, you know what, I'm just going to move this up so I can see what I'm doing. So let's see, let's go trim path, 0, I don't know, what's 10, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, see how fast that is.
This short,
darn it. I do this all the time. All right, bring this up. Forgot to animate it. All right, so
this short time is,
come on, buffer. Ugh.
This short time is what,
okay, that'll work. So now do this to make it look like it's actually being written. And then we're going to offset it maybe about to here. Let's go. I want to start it here. All right. And then, okay, so we're going to move this over a couple frames.
is what we call auto reset.
All right. So what I do first is I have the element drawn, and now I'm going to bring in the graphic of my hand so that it gets drawn in so that
This short time is what we call auto reset.
Okay. So now I come back to here. I lost my Stream Deck. That's not good. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's not how this should go. All right. My precious. Yeah, okay. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha. Okay, so now what we go do is I come over here and I have a comp for my writing hand. We're going to grab that, come back to here, paste this, bring this over. Okay, that is way too big, so let's bring it down to about 60. Oh, well, I need to do that too, but scale, come down to 60. We're going to be changing the position, needs to be a 3D layer. It's going to end up like right here. Okay, and then let's do this so that I can, and then rotation. Is it this one? Yeah. It's going to do that. So let's Uber that. And then this one, let's Uber this one so I can see what I'm doing. All right, so this is actually supposed to be 0. All right. What is happening? Wait a minute. That's 0. Yeah, okay. I must have. All right, move this guy up here, come over here, move this guy here, come up here. Let's also kill the resolution. Wow, that's too much. Normally I can see this just fine, but I think encoding the stream is giving After Effects. I'm using up one of my cores, or 2 of my cores for the stream. All right. So I actually used to have scripts that did this for me. I mentioned that earlier, and I need to go back and fix them. There was a couple of problems, and the thing is like every time I say I'm going to sit down to fix them, I end up working on something new instead. Okay, that'll look a little better. And if you're thinking this looks like a lot of work, it is. I mean, in the past I've talked about how I basically animate AddOhms episodes pixel by pixel, or frame by frame. It's probably more correct. That's not too far from the truth, but I like it, so all right. Let's just take a quick look, see how that works out.
This short time is what...
All right. So now the hand, or that gets drawn. Now what I need to animate is the hand coming on and off. So, oh, the other thing I want to do is, so if I drew this, I would go, yeah, so rotation, I'm going to come in from this side. So let's go -5. And then by, that's not what I wanted. So I'm going to go -5. And then as we get to about here, I want this to be like 2, and then 3, and then 5, and then 2, 3, what's going on? 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and go as far as 10. 1, 2, 3. At this point, let's come back to about 3. 1, 2, 3 is going to go back to -3, -5. Okay, that should look good. How did you learn all this After Effects stuff? Do a course, trial and error, both. So I started using, so when I started AddOhms out, episode 3, let's see, episode 4, the infamous voltage, current, power episode, I used Apple Motion to do most of the animation. And in a lot of ways, I still prefer using Motion, but back then, version 5 was relatively new and very, very buggy. And so I ended up, I worked through a lot of it, and then I just got fed up with, I mean, it was constantly crashing on me. And so, I mean, it was to a point where, like what you just saw me do, almost every time I would hit a keyframe, I would hit save, because I never knew if the next keyframe it was going to crash. And then if it did crash, it sometimes took the files with it, and so then I would lose a couple of big mess. So I started looking at After Effects, which is significantly more difficult to use, but infinitely more capable. And then the other reason I liked it was because that it offered JavaScript scripting. So like I've got a bunch of scripts I've wrote that I don't really use as much anymore, but I still have them available. And then when I do some animation stuff, you can do some animation, affect the animations with JavaScript. And so I like it for that reason. The other reason I like it is it's a lot more stable. It just doesn't, I mean, occasionally it crashes on me, but generally it's stable. So how I learned it was I watched, so first I subscribed to lynda.com, and I went through one course on Lynda on After Effects, which was after I did a course on, actually this needs to stay out, after I did a course on Motion. So I sort of understood how compositing programs worked. I just didn't know how After Effects worked. And so after that, after I went through the Lynda course, then it was a matter of, okay, now I'm going to make some simple things. And then from there, I watch a bunch of different YouTube tutorials. Now, the two that I recommend the most to watch are Surface Studios with Tobias, and Grant on Lone Archer Lone Archer Films, or I guess now he's called Film Learning. Now they mostly focus on special effects, but even just watching them do special effects kind of things, there's a lot of like things about how to use After Effects that I used. Something I'm not good at right now is like if I have standard video and I want to make it look different, I don't necessarily know what I don't know which effects to use. Once I know the effects, like if I watch a tutorial, I can really work through it, but I don't really know how to, like, I don't know when to use liquify and things like that yet. But if you pay attention to some of the videos or some of my tutorials, I do actually add in effects quite a bit. So I'd say for somebody that doesn't know how to do it, I've figured out quite a bit. All right, so the hand's going to come in here, and then I do my quasi 3D with layer styles. So now what I need is blur, layer style, drop shadow, distance, and speed. All right, let's re-uber this because these are going to start at 20, 20, and 20. And then he's going to come into here. And at this point, it has to be
short time.
Come on. Has to be zeroed out. That should be a 5, and that's going to be a 5. This is easy eased. This is easy eased, and then these two need to be easy eased. So that comes in. Now, a little trick I started doing is, let's separate the values, go to the graph editor, and on the X, we're going to go to Gaussian just to give kind of a non-linear attachment. So then we do all these things. So at the very end, now I need, let's see. We'll come back down this way. All right, and then close that up. Okay, so now we go back to the Ubers. The position is done, but I need to copy this one and this one, because then this and this and this get, oops, shoot. These, I didn't even notice that. These all get easy eased. Same trick. Let's go to X and just kind of Gaussian it out just to give it a more organic look. And then I think I forgot to do my Z positioning. So this should be 0, and then this should be 250, and then this, oh shoot. This should be 250, and this one's going to end up being 250. All right, so the hand comes in, it's going down, writes, and then comes away. All right, put that all together, and then we'll see what that looks like. Surface Studio and Film Learning. Here, actually, let's do this real quick. Surface Studio. So this is Tobias. So look for this guy. And then Film Learning is going to be probably this guy. This guy. And no, I didn't start. Actually, somebody asked me one time, do you watch this guy because he's got a bald head? No, that's not why. He does actually really cool things. The Marvel AddOhms intro I showed you, it's actually from one of his tutorials. And then, yeah. So anyway, so Surface Studios and Film Learning. All right, let's see what that looks like.
This short time is what we call...
Oh, what did I do that for? Really? Idiot. Okay. All right, so now hand comes in.
This short time is what we call auto.
And then auto reset fades in.
Reset.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. Happy with that. Okay. What's coming next? Let's bring this guy back down, put him where he belongs. think it's this one. No, come on. Yep, got it. All right, so what's, I'm gonna do the charging graphic next.
Charging up.
That's not what I wanted. Let's see.
To start charging. It to start.
All right, so let's go here. What am I looking for? I'm looking for graph times volts. So we're going to turn these off for a second. Okay. Nope. Nope. This one. All right. So this one's going to start here. We're going to add trim pads. And let's go ahead and go end. Bring this down to 0. Uber.
Start charging up.
All right, and then about here, we're going to get it to, let's call it 25. Wait a minute. Something's wrong. What is wrong with you? I am doing the wrong thing. Oops, oops, oops. What did I do? It's this one. That's what I wanted to edit. You silly goose. Trim path. Let's bring this one, start time up here. And let's go end. Let's bring this one down to 0. And then go.
Start charging up.
All right, start charging up. Now I want this to be at about 25. What I want is something like that. Man, you can't really see that, can you? I'm gonna have to change that color. I don't think that's what I like. Hey, Brian. Hey, I did see your message on IRC. I just I was streaming, so I couldn't respond.
After.
All right, and then this is where it's going to end. So, now, what I want to do that, and then we're going to do this. I don't know how I feel about this. There's a couple things I don't like, but
it to start charging up. After a few milliseconds, the capacitor is charged and reset. That is brought back to 5 volts.
Yeah, I normally on these I try to do more talking, and this one's just a little bit harder because I'm trying to think while I'm doing it. But I just want to basically get this animation animated. In fact, I'm gonna take a quick break. I need to order something for lunch because I'm getting hungry. And what I'll probably do is work until lunch shows up. That's fine. Let's get a sandwich. Half tots at order. All right. Yep. Okay, so where I'm at now is I still don't like this yellow. It's so light. Which actually makes me think those are not linked. That's why it's happening. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 oh. Stroke. Make this darker. Oh, that's so many better. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we got that. Capacitor's charging up. What I'm not liking now is I feel like this isn't clear that this is a 5 volt. So we're going to go and edit this graph a little bit. Bring volts down, bring time over. And then on here, we're going to add a line. Just a little stub. Did it draw a mask? I bet it drew a mask. Line, contents. What is going on? Why isn't it showing up though? Draw this. That should be, creates a shape. All right, I don't know what that was about. And then I need to borrow a 5 volt indicator from, let's take this one, move it over here, and where's he at? So this needs to come up to here, and graph. Okay. That makes me feel better. All right. Cool. All right, let's see what we can get done in 40 minutes. All right. Capacitor charges up. Now this short time. All right. What's going on here?
5 volts across the capacitor.
All right. So now what I want is I need we're going to do a highlight for the capacitor, but I'm not going to reuse that one. So instead what we're going to do is this. Call this one capacitor highlight. And then from here to here. Nope. Here to here. And here to here. Does that look about the same? No. All right. Let's just come over here. All right. Now what we're going to do is center this, scale this to be slightly larger. I need to change the stroke. Is this going to change the whole stroke? That'll work. I'm going to move it down below. We're also going to change the stroke color to be a bright yellow, ironically enough. And let's make sure this has no fill. And then we're going to come over here and add a glow effect to this guy. All right. And then this one is going to be like 20. Should not be add, none. Let's go none. This one on top, and then this should be like 40. And this one should be like 45. Why does that look so bad? All right, we're not going to worry about it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is capacitor highlight T, we're about 40%. I'm going to cut that into here. So drops
5 volts across the capacitor.
All right, so I want this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring this down to 0. Keyframe it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bring this up to 100. Oh no, 40. And then we're gonna come up to here. 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then bring this back to 0.
This action drops 5 volts across the capacitor, causing it to start charging up. After a few milliseconds, the capacitor is charged and reset is brought back to 5 volts.
All right, I'm going to do this. And do this. I kind of want to have this come all the way. When you cross an Autobot with a homing pigeon, a flyback transformer. Oh goodness. Okay. Well, if I still put jokes in, then I would definitely be adding that one. Let's go. What am I looking for? Okay. I was going to make that glow, but I don't feel like doing that right now. Okay. Let's do some of these others. So the review. I still don't understand, why is this not showing up anymore? What did I do? What's going on here? Where is... Oh, duh. But it seems like it disappears at some point. Time, freeze frame. All right, I don't know what was going on there. Okay. Let's get some of this other stuff done. Let's see, from the adapter, what do we
The
got?
USB to serial adapter, there are 3 signals.
All right. So transmit, it comes in here. Uh-oh. I don't know what I just did. Transmit comes in here. Receive comes here. And then DTR is going to come here. And then we're going to do this little gag where we go to RTS. Open and close. Let's move these up here.
You can also use RTS. This
signal. Let's just mark that. Oh, mark that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fade those in and out. But before I do that, we're going to add a little bit of animation. So all of these, except for RTS, are going to get a visit from my favorite plugin, Animation Composer. All right, that saves boatloads of time. Except I just realized, yeah, okay, that works. And then where's this guy at? Okay, that works. Now, what am I saying?
And DTR. Or you
And then we can do right here. What I want is these to basically switch place. So RTS is going to start out at 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to go 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to go up, and that's going to come down. And then we're going to do this. And copy this to come to here. And we're going to do something like this. Come on. Move this over. Time reverse. Copy these. Move this over. Time reverse. Still not looking right to me. Yay, new subscriber. All right, let's see how that looks. All right, that's what I'm looking for. So what I'll probably end up doing is doing the zooms around this thing when it's all done, just to draw some focus.
The serial adapter, there are 3 signals: transmit, receive, and DTR. Or you can also use RTS. This signal is active low.
Okay, so when I say this signal is active low, let me save this real quick. Okay. That was weird. That's not the right key. Okay, so active low. Where is my... I want DTS signal. We're going to bring this one here. And did I... Yeah, let's kill this, because that's going to screw me up. Okay, and we're basically going to do it this way. Got lost. I can tell I'm getting hungry because I can't concentrate, but I want to get as much as I can done before I take a break. All right, 0, and then let's just do this and see what happens. See how this lines up. See you later, Serial. Hopefully I get this up by the end of the week. That's my goal anyway. In fact, when we're done, I might show a clip that I did yesterday.
This signal is active low, which means when it...
No, I want...
Yes. This signal is active low.
All right, that point, I want it to already be... There we go. All right.
Yes. This signal is active low.
And then I'm going to go ahead and keyframe that and say...
We'll go to 0 volts.
And then let that finish out.
Or you can also use RTS. This signal is active low. Or you can also use RTS. This signal is active low, which means when it is active, it will go to 0 volts.
All right. Okay.
Over on the 328 side,
All right. So reset's going to come in here. So let's see, text, where's 328 reset? What? Where's the, that's not what I think it is. That's the shape. Where is this guy? All right, shorten him up, and then we go over here. This is, so to make the stream a little more usable, I dropped my resolution. I'm normally at 4K. I dropped it to 1920, and so it's funny how much doesn't fit on the screen anymore. But it sort of reminds me of using when I would do editing on my laptop, just like if I sat an inch away from it. All right.
there is a reset signal, which holds the processor in a stopped or reset state.
Oh, you know what I could do right there? I could do this same thing, but let's do this. Right, and then we're going to make this green. Ah, come on. I never understand why that doesn't work. And then we're going to make it red. Stopped. What kind of spelling is that? Stopped. Okay, now running. Okay, now what we can do is I'm going to take this one down to 0, and then we're going to bring this one in now and go back to Animation Composer. And say, hey. I said, hey, what you gonna say?
Signal, which holds the processor in a stopped. Over on the 328 side, there is a reset signal, which holds the processor in a stopped or reset state. It has a pull-up resistor to 5 volts.
All right, now, okay, let's do our resistor. And let's see now, resistor, pull-up resistor is this one. We're going to add our friend the trim path. And let's go end. 20 frames. Now, what I want is, shoot. Not simultaneously, individually. Okay, 88, 86, 84, 85. Okay, if I hold that 85, and then I go 1, 2, 3, hold that to 85, and then all right. So that, and then let's curve those up a little bit. All right, and then once that is done, then this 5-volt can come in. All right, and before I do the hand animation, I just want to see if that fits with the overall narration.
Over on the 328 side, there is a reset signal, which holds the processor in a stopped or reset state. It has a pull-up resistor to 5 volts.
Perfect. All right, so now we are going to animate the resistor, the hand animation. Let's come back to here, clean him up. I need my writing hand, copy this, come over here to auto reset, paste that in. And then let's go ahead and add this one, and we will add this one and this one. Let's add these and go 3D. All right. Okay. Oops. Uber. Okay, the position, and scale, let's bring it down to 60, and then opacity, so I can see what I'm doing, will be 50, and then it's going to end up somewhere over here. I'm just not sure where at. So what we'll do is do this. Come on, resolve. It's going to end up right here. There we go. Hello from Twitch. Might be the first person to say hello on the chat from there. All right. Let's go up to here. For those watching on YouTube, if you didn't know, I also stream this over on a Twitch channel that I started a couple weeks ago. Haven't really done much other than stream a couple of these AddOhms live streams. Come on, resolve through. I guess I could just, you know what? If I just get it in the general area, I can just move the position points later. I don't think most people can even tell a couple of frames. Okay, so what I'm, okay. Because what's going to happen now is this is going to start over here. And I need to come back to here. Oh, this one comes back to here, because then this comes here. Can already tell that's going to move over a little bit, and then done. All right, let's see if that looks okay. For some reason, I've actually screwed up resistors a couple of times.
It has a pull-up resistor.
All right, that actually looks pretty good.
It has a pull-up resistor to 5 volt.
All right, so let's bring the hand on. Let's go, let's see now. It's got to come pretty far up. I don't think I've come straight up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then let's go rotation. Let's 5 degrees. Sounds good to me. X, Y, Z. Let's go ahead and do these now. 20, 20, 20, and position 250. Come in to about this point, and then rotation to 0. All right. Be right back. All right. You're not actually drawing anything? Yeah, I haven't drawn anything for so long. I know what okay, I'll do that in a minute. Okay, so I come in, do this, and then I'm going to go off to the side. And so bring this one over here. If you can't figure out why I'm out of breath, had to run downstairs, lunch is here. But I want to get as much as I can done before I go to take care of that. Okay, so I need to stop back over here. This one, where's my others? This one and this one. I'm going to come over here and go 20, 20, where's my blurry? 20 and 250. All right, now those and those, and then these and these. What was this one? Okay, the rotation, well, I'm going to change that. All right. Remember the Forrest Mims drawings? Yeah, actually, hold on. I've been thinking about doing a live stream on some of this old stuff that I have, and I have his engineer notebooks from Radio Shack. And so, no joke, part of where I got the idea for some of my style is from his drawings. I love the simple schematic on graph paper. Originally, I was going to use graph paper as a background, but I found it super distracting, so I decided to stick to this. But yeah, it's actually, that was actually sort of what I had in mind, was his kind of style when I set out to start AddOhms. All right. So that looks about right. Let me just make sure. Awesome. Okay. All right, so the last thing I need to do on that section is change that back to 100. Okay, so let's do this. Let me back up. I'm going to buffer out this whole thing. Let's go back to full resolution. And let's just take a look at what we've got going on. Okay. Let me buffer it. So what I'm doing at the moment is I'm letting After Effects basically do its thing and figure out, or basically pre-render everything. And then I'm going to play through it. Let's just see where it's at. I'm not going to be able to finish the whole animation in this stream, but I think that's why I want to do this, to see where this gets to. I think this gives a really good idea of what goes into the animations, and then that way I can eat lunch and then finish this up and get to work on the episode. Any questions before I play this whole thing? Because after that I'm probably going to start getting ready for lunch. Why is it taking so long? Actually, I might need a reboot. This is running. Oh, it's because of that. Or it's because of the stream. I keep forgetting that it's slowing me down. But this is also why... Uh-oh. Shoot. Okay. That is supposed to be... I need a... need to fix that. Hand is in the wrong place. Don't want to do that now because it's going to mess up the rendering. Yeah, I think eating lunch at 11 o'clock at night might be a little bit too late, even in Europe. Well, I'll make it even worse. Just recently, I found a really good Texas-style barbecue place that delivers. Well, I guess I have DoorDash, so everything delivers. But they have a fantastic brisket sandwich that I can actually smell even though it's downstairs. So it's having a very strong influence on how far I want to keep working on this. What is this coming in for? Oh, the highlight. Okay. And that goes away, and then this thing is going to go, or at least it should. Did I leave one of the graphic layers on? Huh. Normally it would have.
Before we check out the reset signal.
Okay. All right. So now let's see what this looks like at this point.
Before we check out the reset signal, we should review how this simple looking auto reset circuit works. From the USB to serial adapter, there are three signals: transmit, receive, and DTR, or you can also use RTS. This signal is active low, which means when it is active, it will go to 0 volts. Over on the 328 side, there is a reset signal, which holds the processor in a stopped or reset state. It has a pull-up resistor to 5 volts. The reset signal is also active low, which means when 0 volts or logic low is applied, the processor resets itself. It stays in that reset state until this signal goes high. These two signals are connected by a 100 nanofarad capacitor. When the serial port is closed, that means the capacitor sees 5 volts on the DTR side and 5 volts on the reset side. So when the computer opens the serial port, the USB to serial chip asserts the DTR signal, which causes one side of the capacitor to go low. This action drops 5 volts across the capacitor, causing it to start charging up. After a few milliseconds, the capacitor is charged and reset is brought back to 5 volts. This short time is what we call auto reset. It is just long enough to reset the 328, which then runs the bootloader. Okay, let's go back to Scope James. Before we check out the reset signal.
Okay, pop quiz. How many mistakes did you see? I saw this many. Okay, I mean, yeah, there's still quite a bit that has to get done, but that's all I'm going to be able to get done for now. The whole point of the live stream was to kind of give an idea what goes into an AddOhms episode. So, you know, this whole thing is a minute long, and I've been streaming for 2.5 hours. So that gives you a little bit of sense for when you see all the animations in the final video. You know, it's on this order of magnitude of work. Granted, I'm going a little bit slower because I keep interacting with chat and I'm losing my place, but you know, it's the elements of what I put into an episode are all here. And so I hope you enjoyed watching this. Please, if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe so that you can see when this final episode gets released. I'm hoping to have it done in the next couple of days, so it should be coming out this week. I'm going to shut down the stream, but I will hang out and chat for a few minutes in case there's anything you want to talk about or ask questions about or give suggestions on a better explanation for how auto reset works on the Arduino. My name is James. I'm the Bald Engineer. This has been an AddOhms live stream. I want to thank everybody in the chat that helped come join me, and I hope that you come back. I try to do these every week, and so if you have suggestions for a future stream, let me know. In the meantime, remember, if your circuit's not working, just add ohms.